This conference will now be recorded.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Can you guys hear me?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. Because my computer's not working. I'm using my phone right now. So, and I can't see if it's actually working. Yeah, everybody's moving, so I guess it's working. Hello. Welcome to the Sarcoidosis online support group. We have a nice small group, which is nice actually. Do we have, well, actually, not everybody's been here before, I could see. But does anybody have anything new to start off with today? Anyone? Anyone?
I've had some not so fun complications lately,
Okie
which has
dokie.
not been fun. I don't
What's
know if
going on?
anyone has anyone. Well, I get subcutaneous immunoglobulin, so I unfortunately recently had a hematoma, that an infection, and then I ended up hospitalized for about a week. And then while I was there, they did a CT of my abdomen, and the doctor missed it, but then I was reviewing my CT afterwards, and I had something going on with my liver. A recanalized umbilical vein and large spleen, and then I've had low platelets for a while, so they diagnosed me with ITP like a year ago.
What's
So
that?
I've been seeing it's called immune thrombocytic purpura. I had to do sorry, I get kind of lost in thought sometimes. So I have neurosarcoid. So they diagnosed me with that about a year ago, and I had to do a biopsy of my bone marrow. So they're trying to figure out what was going on way back then. But now they're, with everything that's going, where they find new findings about my liver. They did a bunch of different things of did a lot of blood work. I've seen, I saw the GI doc. I also have Crohn's and some other things going on. But they basically they're going to do a biopsy. I don't know if anyone's ever had a liver biopsy. Has anyone ever had a liver biopsy?
No, not yet.
No, I
Yeah.
knew somebody that my lawyer had it.
No one? No. Yeah, so they're going to do it, I guess, intrajugular, or no, I think, yeah, through the jugular vein, and then go down that way. I guess there's less, I guess if you bleed, then you bleed like inside. There's a certain, it's better when you have low platelets because of the bleeding. So I'm going to have that a week from Monday. A little nervous, of course. So they're not sure if it's from meds or if it's from, I doubt it's from sarcoid. Or if it's from, a virus. It could be, I don't know if they think it's related to, like, my triglycerides were a little high, so they don't know if it's that, because it did show up on my CT as like a little bit fatty liver, different things. But I don't know. I'm having them checked tomorrow again. So I eat pretty clean. I've been trying to be a lot better especially over the past COVID. I mean, I'm home trying to be good. It's pretty good. So that's, I mean, my sarcoid stuff has been up and down. My major symptoms with that are nausea. I have like inner ear stuff going on. And I have like intracranial pressure issues. Some cranial nerve stuff. But I've had a lot of ups and downs, and my symptoms are all over the place. But it's been, at least the past 3 days have been better. But when it's bad, it's bad. And, it goes up and down all day. It's so weird. My symptoms are all over the place. So when the nausea's bad, it's bad. But I have had a better few days. So I'll take them when I can get them. We all will. So that's kind of been what's going on in my world.
Actually,
It's like, sometimes you're like,
my stepsister had something like that done to her. I forgot, Allison, and now they I have a huge family, and she ended up she was okay. They actually said that she had cancer, and she didn't.
Oh,
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow. So wait,
That was
it was
like,
a little fuzzy when you talked, Wendy. You said what was it, your stepsister? Sorry, it was a little
yeah,
fuzzy.
yeah.
Wow.
And she didn't have sarcoid or anything like that. She didn't have any issues. They just found it. They took an MRI and they did a scan, and they saw that her liver it didn't look good. And then they told, her that she had cancer, because she lives in Oregon, and they told
Oh,
her that
wow.
she had cancer, and so she told everybody. My stepmother was telling everybody she had cancer, and then to find out it wasn't cancer like months later. I cannot believe it.
So she had a biopsy and then they were like,
Yeah. Yeah,
oh my
then it
gosh.
wasn't cancer.
Wow. Yeah, that's crazy. So yeah, I have an MRI tomorrow morning. So yeah, because I did have it in my spleen years ago when I first got diagnosed in 2013. I did have sarcoid in my spleen, but it went away like within like I think 6 months probably.
It went
Um,
away because of treatment.
yeah, it went away. Sarcoid always seemed to hang around in my ears and my cranial nerves, like base of my skull, but it went away pretty quick in my organs for some reason.
Was that
You
well, like
know?
with prednisone?
Yeah, with prednisone, I've been on a lot of different treatments, but with prednisone and I was on prednisone and Cellcept initially. Um, I think that
Knocked
was
it
what
out.
made it go away. Yeah, that did help. I had like my first treatment was, unfortunately like high dose prednisone. Um, 3 days of high dose prednisone at, in the hospital. Yeah,
Well,
right
I
after I was
wish you all the
diagnosed.
best, and I know that we'll all be crossing our fingers for you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes,
I'm
good
sure it'll
luck.
go.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Um, Hi, Rob. You new here?
God. Hi, Rob.
He poised himself.
Rob,
Oh,
we can't hear you.
Can you unmute yourself? Uh-oh, I think we lost him.
no.
Frank scared him away.
Yeah, really. I was going to put him on the spot and everything.
I know. Frank.
Oh, now that we're talking about something like this, I was going to ask you. Frank has a new group and Kathy has a new group, and it's awesome. Can you talk about that, please?
Go ahead, Kath. I'll let you talk about it.
No, you're vice president. I mean, you're president, so.
Yeah, but you
All
do all
right.
the paperwork.
Oh, thanks. All right. So we've started a new organization called, it's Patients for Patients, called Stronger Than Sarcoidosis. So please look us up on Facebook and connect with us, as well as our webpage. Kerry is our vice president. Frank is our president. I get to be secretary. And we have Cheryl in as treasurer. So what we're trying to do is really be there for everybody and start this organization as a nonprofit. And we hope to grow a lot. So Frank has very big ideas, as well as all four of us. And we've been talking about it for a while, so we just bit the bullet. We are an organization at this time. We're still waiting for our 501c3 to come through. Once that happens, we have 3 years to show sustainability. I'm going for a grant writing course. Somebody shoot me September 3rd for 8 weeks. I've been told it's a lot of work, so I'm hoping after we show that we're sustainable for 3 years that I can go after many, many grants and maybe get to, hopefully COVID will be gone. Maybe we all could meet in a centralized location where there are some funds to help for travel and things like that. We could have workshops. We could have doctors coming in to talk to us about our disease, actually have good questions from these doctors. So, and Frank has also put something together for, you want to explain what the sarcoidosis with the minorities are?
Well, just so you guys know, we are not I want to put this disclaimer in. We are not going against FSR. We're not going against Bernie Mac Foundation. We are actually working with them. I want everybody to know that we are there to work with them. We're really trying to work, with, as she said, patients for patients. We're going to be more patient focused. They're a lot, the other ones are really research focused, and they try to work with patients, but it's a little bit harder for them. So we're going to try to fill the gap for patients. And I guess August 11th, I did the the sarcoidosis minority forum. We are going to be doing more forums, not just minority forums, just so everybody knows and doesn't think that we're just, just there for minorities. We're here for everyone. Sarcoidosis doesn't care who you are. You have it, so we don't care who you are. Like there's a couple that are that we've been talking about. One of them is how sarcoidosis and COVID have been how they're working, how we can make it better, because a lot of things that COVID you get from COVID actually are the same things that we are getting from sarcoidosis. So we're working on. We're actually going to have a survey coming out that myself and a couple of doctors doing a medical research paper, Dr. Sakatu, and she asked myself and Rodney and a couple of other from different areas to help out with this research paper. And it's going to be a survey, and we're going to be pushing this survey because it's all about COVID and sarcoidosis. What could be done better from the healthcare? How also about telehealth care is going to be in there. Questions about that, what you think about that. It's really because everybody says we're going to get another wave. God forbid, we haven't even finished that first wave for a lot of states, but they say we're going to get a second wave. And we want to make sure that what happened to us in the first wave doesn't happen in the second. So I really think that this is going to be something that needs to be talked about. So that's why I'm going to hit one of those is going to be a forum. I'm going to also talk about insurance because that is a big issue, especially for sarcoidosis patients, trying to get their medicines, trying to get approved for medicines, all that good stuff. That's going to be another forum that we're going to do. The way we're looking is that we're going to try to do quarterly forums, and we're going to get just like the last one, we had doctors, government officials, we have mental health experts. That's another one. We want to do a mental health forum also, but we have mental health people. At the last one, we also had NAACP member. We had two reverends that were highly involved in the social justice community. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to hit, like if it's, say it's COVID, we're going to get doctors to come on board and talk about, what we could do better, and then it's going to kind of be a bounce off this one, because usually it's just doctors telling us what, but this one is we're going to talk to the doctors and tell them what went well and what didn't go well for us, because we need, we can't have what happened to us. There was too many people who their medicine stopped, their IVIG or Remicade or those things stopped because of this. That can't happen, because if people go without the Remicade, go without the methotrexates, go without their even the hydrochloroquine, the people that are using that, Plaquenil, if you're using that was short, so people were getting half doses, half of the amount. That can't happen, because that's our lives, and something that we've been trying to stress is, and I've been stressing it a lot, is a lot of people always, especially when it comes to COVID, people always think about the people who died. Well, I'm a prime example. I had COVID. I didn't die, but I am still living with the after effects. And there are, I have many now, and they're coming out now. and it's been very, very rough. So I think that's something that we need to talk about and people need to know, because I could say I have a rash on my body that came from COVID in March, and it still hasn't gone away. It's actually getting worse now. What's going on? I just got told today, I just went back today because they had to take a biopsy, and they stitched my hand up and the stitches popped out. And I had blood rushing, going down my arms, and that was fun. So I went back today, and I was talking to the doctor, and this the organization, or the doctors group, they have one in where close to me in Smithtown, and then they have another one in New York City. They have over 100 patients who have the same kind of rash that I do from COVID, but yet nobody knows what it is. They've kind of dropped it down that they know that it is. Well, they kind of narrowed it down that it's going to be it's an autoimmune disease that we're getting from COVID. And I'm like, that's great. And the doctor even said to me, he goes, it's not even good for people who don't have any other diseases. But he goes, I'm sorry, it's really not good for you. He's like, you don't really need an autoimmune to activate your autoimmune system. Excuse me. So, those are the things that we're going to be working on, and trying to inform people, and also have you get information from you guys. The patients aren't heard enough. Whether it be clinical trials, whether it be like surveys, we're just not heard. Like a lot of the conferences, they'll have one or two patients, but then they'll have 4 or 5 doctors. And it's great to get the information from the doctors, but it's also kind of nice to hear what the patients have to say, and have the doctors actually listen to the patients, because we're never going to move forward unless we work together as patients and doctors and clinicians and pharma, all of them. We need to work together to get anything done. So that's one of the big pushes that I'm going to be doing in the next couple of, probably for the whole next year, is going to be a lot of these forums. I'm going to be asking people if they want to be part of the panels. You don't have to be part of FSR. You don't have to be part of Bernie Mac. You don't have to be part of any organization. I want to hear what people have to say. I want to hear, what the patients have to say, because, like I said, that's the one thing that's missing in a lot of our studies that are going on. One of the other things that I haven't even talked to Kathleen about this is that I was talking to this organization called Clara Health. What they do is they look at the clinical trials and try to hook up patients for the clinical trials. Well, one of the things they just asked me today, I'm still waiting to hear, but they're making a board up for minorities too. It's not just minorities, people who right now clinical trials, and don't anybody take offense, but right now who the clinical trials are looking for and who are getting approved is white men. That's if you look at our clinical trials right now, it's white men. There's 90, I think he said from all the, and they deal with all rare disease clinical trials. 92% of them are white men. How can you do that? How can you have a real clinical trial if you're not going to have women? If you're not going to have, especially like with sarcoidosis, if you're not going to have women have sarcoidosis more than men do, first of all. Second, if you're not going to have an African American woman who is the largest population, how can you not, how are you going to have a true clinical trial?
Frank, I read something that they were having a problem getting African Americans. And
that's not the case. It's really not the case. They're not because the guy I was talking to, he just came to Clara Health, but he's been in the clinical trial area for a while, and he's Spanish, and he was telling me how they don't even they won't even um, take in LGBTQ people in the clinical trials. And how, I mean, really, what is the difference? Does it matter? If somebody wants to be part of a trial, let them be part of the trial. Um, but yet, a lot of the clinicians are saying they're not getting enough people to sign up for these trials. But meanwhile, like he was saying, he showed me 4 trials, and they had over 12,000 each people that signed up. But they said they didn't have enough people sign up for the trials. So that, I mean, that's something that really needs to be done, and especially with our I mean, we have one good thing is we have more clinical trials that are happening for sarcoidosis. The bad thing is if you look at clinical what is it, Kathleen? What is it? Clinical.gov.
Sorry, I had to unmute myself and find out where it was. Also, Trina had raised her hand, Frank, so just so you know about that. So it's clinicaltrials.gov.
Yeah, if you look in there, when I first, like I always kid around, is that they had, when I first, 9 years ago, when I got diagnosed, there was 2. There was 2 clinical trials. Now there's over 200. But if you look at them,
Frank,
what's that?
I just looked it up. It says, according to Ali, African Americans are not enrolled in clinical trials for several reasons, including, this is what they're saying, financial hurdles, logistical challenges, and a distrust of the medical system because of past harmful experiences.
Yeah.
But that's all on them. That's all on them.
Yeah.
No,
Okay, and that's what I just read. I just looked it up.
Rick, what did you say?
Frank,
I'm just saying what I
know.
I said I read something. I wanted to.
Yeah, let's just hear what Rick had to say. Go ahead, Rick.
Frank, I mean, it is on them, but there is a real issue in the African American community with respect to trust with regarding clinical trials. Now we're about to launch a new group for a disease called renal medullary cancer, carcinoma. It's a rare kidney cancer, and it's correlated with sickle cell disease.
Mm-hmm.
And the foundation that we're launching it with has a very, very good relationship with MD Anderson. And together we've just, with MD Anderson, I'm hoping we're going to try and get some grant money. And part of that grant money is to try and explore how we can make clinical trials more acceptable in the African American community, how we can reach out to that African American community. Because if you speak to many African Americans, they will tell you that they still have a distrust going back years and years and years, and absolutely rightly so, to clinical trials.
Yeah, a lot of the, I mean, a lot of the distrust, and that's what one of the things we were talking about when we were talking about this, is a lot of the distrust is, you know, they want people to do all these things, and then they know that the people that don't have the money that can do that, can go wherever they need them to go. These people have the money. The people who are doing the clinical trials have the money. It's just that they want to do it the cheaper way. So that's why they go for more of a affluent person they don't have to pay for the clinical trial. So there is a lot of mistrust been built up, like you said, Rick, for a long, long time, and that's one of the barriers we're hoping to break. But in our community, like I said, that they should be looking for African Americans, consider it is the majority of our population is. I mean, but like I said, they're not even asking for women right now. They're not asking for, all they're asking for are white males. I shouldn't say who they're asking, who they're accepting. And that's something that needs to change, because we all have different different bodies. And I think they need to get a better range. Otherwise, these drugs are not going to work for everybody. Like, as we all know, like, look at hydrochloroquine. Some people it works great for. For me, it didn't work. After a month, I almost lost all my vision in my left eye. I went down to 23% vision in my left eye after a month of use of that. So, and then then you get people, hey, let's just try it for this. It just, I think that everybody needs to be informed. Both, like, it comes down to the doctors need to be informed. Like I said, the clinicians need to be informed. The patients, excuse me, need to be informed as well, because I think, and the patients need to be able to speak, have a say in things that are going on, especially with our disease, because no two patients are alike. How can you can't write a book of how to fix sarcoidosis, because it will work for one person, but it probably won't work for the others. So I think that, I want to get more patients involved. And I'm not saying take it up a lot of patients' time. I'm just talking about, like, if I'll ask you some questions, come to you guys, and just say, hey, what do you think about this? What's your opinion on this? Because I'm not afraid to go, and Kathleen knows this. I'm definitely not afraid to go to pharma. I'm definitely not afraid to go to the government. I've done that many, many times. Clinicians, I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid of talking to doctors, Kathleen. You know that, because I broke through one of the toughest doctors we have for sarcoidosis, and that. But yeah, I just think that we need to, break that. All right, farmers here, farmers up here, or doctors are up here, and we're down here. Now, how about we're all together? How about we're all in the same plane, working together? Because everybody says they want a cure, especially all the patients. Where's the cure? Where's the cure? Where's the cure? Oh, somebody's calling me, but I don't care. So I just
can I ask? Can we ask this group? Is there anybody in this group who has had any experience with clinical trials, other than yourself and Kathleen?
I've actually never done a clinical trial. I've put in for a few of them, but have never been accepted.
I
Okay.
have been in a clinical trial, but not for this disease.
Okay.
yeah.
Have you looked?
I've been.
Wendy?
I signed up.
Have you
I
ever
signed up for
applied?
20 of them. I signed up for 20 of them. I've been accepted to one.
I did apply for one of them for sarcoidosis, and I was turned down because I have neurosarcoidosis. But maybe now that I'm in remission, they might take me.
Oh, I'm in a clinical trial. People don't forgot this. I'm in a clinical trial at Cleveland Clinic.
I couldn't hear you. I'm sorry, Allison.
I'm in a clinical trial right now at Cleveland Clinic.
Oh, that's good.
Tell us about the trial, Allison. How easy was it to get into it? How did you find out about it? How easy was it to get into it?
They actually did it while I was there for an appointment with, I went last year. I was having a kind of hard time with my doctors and getting on the right treatment. And I'm just going round and around. I just wanted to see Dr. Culver, who's a big doctor in sarcoid. So I went there and I saw Dr. Culver and Dr. Moss. Dr. Moss is a neurologist there. And the doctors actually, I think they brought it up to me while I was there.
Yeah, that's one of Culver's. That's one of his clinical trials, right? It's one of Culver's clinical trials? Yeah.
Yeah.
He's actually great.
So,
He's a great doctor.
Yeah, he's an amazing doctor. He's one of the best doctors I've ever worked with, and I used to work with doctors, medical device for a while, and I actually used to work in clinical trials, whole other story. But so actually he brought it up to me. So I was like, yeah, I was like, definitely have to do it. He said, you have to come back in 2 years. Do you think you could do that? And I said, yeah. I figured I'd come back for follow-ups at least once a year. No, obviously not right now with COVID. But yeah, he brought it up to me, and I think it was a heart study, and I just had to you had to do what's it called, an your heart, the monitor. I had to wear a monitor. They had to do it. One test while I was there. I had to wear a monitor for a certain amount of time, and then send it back to them, and then I have to go back now next year. Yeah.
Okay,
Mhm.
that's
So
good.
it doesn't involve taking any drugs, or it doesn't involve regular blood tests or follow-up tests or anything like that?
Trying to think. It was just I had to wear the monitor for a certain amount of time, and I can't remember how long that
Right.
was.
Right.
But as far as I had to fill out a little form or something saying, monitoring some of my symptoms in regards to my heart. But I don't, yeah, there wasn't really anything I've had to do since then.
Yeah.
Now I just have to follow up in 2 months. So
Yeah,
hopefully,
I mean,
we'll see how. I don't know. Hopefully, I'll be able to travel back there. I've been following up with them on video visits in regards to how I've been doing, because they recommended different treatment for my sarcoid. So yeah, I think I've done any
I
trial.
think it's very difficult. If you don't understand the system in terms of how to find the clinical trials, and you're not, and especially with sarcoidosis, where there are so few doctors that specialize in sarcoidosis, it is very, very difficult. I mean, you went to see a guy who specializes in sarcoidosis. Those docs are going to know every one of the 112 trials that Kathleen references in the chat window.
Yeah.
But if you go to your local doc who's seeing you and knows as much about sarcoidosis as you do, unless he wants to take the time to look for you, it ain't going to happen.
Yeah, but the
what
thing,
we found.
Go ahead,
Go
Rick.
ahead.
Exactly.
Oh, no.
Well,
But the thing is one thing about sarcoidosis, FSR, they have the clinical trials on their webpage. Oh, where to
okay.
find them. So I mean, it's there for people. I know many people who have tried and haven't gotten
Doctor's
approved
not
too.
going along with it, Frank.
What's that?
My doctors were not willing to go along with it, me going on any clinical trials.
Yeah, that's another issue. But this is what the value of these forums are, because
Yep, exactly.
if you find, first of all, you can look at those clinical trials on FSR and talk about the trials in this forum, and the possibility is that somebody in this forum knows a little bit about those trials. So you can raise the issue here, discuss it, see what the pros are, see what the cons are, see what the eligibility requirements are, or what experience people have. I mean, I know that in some of our other forums, I mean, we even know for trials that are very popular right now, we even know who the trial coordinators are, and we're giving out the trial coordinator's telephone number to some people so they can call directly.
Mm-hmm.
So we use these forums to spread the word, because for so many people, and I'm sure there's people here right today in this virtual room who just don't know the first step to take to go about looking for a clinical trial. And so if we can help you, if Frank can help you and do a little primer and tell you this is what you got to do, go to the FSR, see if there's anything that looks interesting, come back here, and then we can hold your hand and get you through it. This is why we create these groups. Right, Frank?
Yep, exactly. And that's why I'm going to have the forums. I think there's so many things that are being missed opportunities. Trina, I saw your hand up for a minute. Did you want to say something?
I do. I just want to go back just briefly when we were just discussing African Americans and about them taking participating
Right.
in the different trials. Um, I beg to differ first and foremost, not to be disrespectful in any way. The way I want to see it is that oftentimes the African American community is overlooked, and I'm gonna tell you why when it comes to the trials. One is because a lot of African Americans, especially different communities, and these trials are usually at the city hospital, such as Grady down here.
Yeah.
Usually, African Americans have other underlying conditions that would not make them a good candidate for that trial period
Yeah.
or what they're trying to do. That's
Yeah.
usually the case. Prime example, FSR reached out to me, come to find out with my sarcoidosis is active, but not to the point where I always have to stay on medication. So guess what? That exempts me from being a good candidate.
Right.
We have different angles we can look at this. I don't think it's that things in the past, yeah, that may contribute to it, but I don't think that's the whole picture.
Oh
And I
yeah,
don't want to
I
paint
don't think so either.
a picture. Hmm.
Yeah, I think it's everything. That's one of the things that I was talking to with the guy from Clara Health, saying that it's a it's information all the way around. Like I said, patients need to learn, the doctors need to, the clinicians, the farmers, they all need to. They, what we and it started, but I don't know what happened in the rare disease community. But they started to have a lot of pharma sit in with in groups. Global Genes was doing it, but now for some reason they're not. I don't know what's going on with that, with stuff like that. But we need to have a place where the farmer needs to listen to the patient as well as we need to listen to the farmer. We're never going to work together unless we know what is going on with each one. I always say, like, everybody blames pharma for how come we don't have a cure. Well, you can't just blame pharma. First of all, pharma. I mean, not to paint a bad picture for pharma, but pharma has to make money. They're not going to make money off of a rare disease like us unless the government helps them out. So then you have to say, all right, government, you need to help out. So it's not just the pharma, it's not just the government, and it's also us as patients. We need, like, I mean, to say an old saying that Kelly used to always say at FSR, we need to be the squeaky wheels. We're the ones that have to speak up, because if we don't speak up, it's our lives. You got to remember that. We're the ones that are living with this. We're the ones, unfortunately, that are dying with this. We're the ones that have to speak up, because if we don't speak up, nobody's going to care. Nobody's going to care. When I went to, I, I always say this, when first time I went to a rare disease meeting, they were RDLA, which is Mary Molina works there now, but she was the guy who was the Emil, who the founder of it. He said to me, and he's a doctor. He goes, "This RDLA has been an organization for over 20 years, and this was 9 years ago. So they're going almost on 30 years now. I was the very first sarcoidosis patient that they saw there." And he was like, "I can't believe that you're the very first person from sarcoidosis." He's like, "This disease, when I got there, we were getting $0 from the government, not a penny." I mean, but because FSR spoke up, because I spoke up, because Trina spoke up, because Kathleen spoke up, and all these other ambassadors, and Allison, I know you were ambassador too. All of us spoke up. It made them listen. But now we still need to keep speaking up. And there's a lot of things you guys can do from your home. A phone call.
Frank,
Okay,
Frank,
Trina, I know.
Frank, you did such a good job with that group that you formed.
Thank you.
I mean, it
Trina, I
was
know you had
just
something else?
all those people that you had there are going to be for us now.
Yeah, we have. I mean, we have a lot of people who are going to back us, but we just need to find them. Trina, go ahead. You wanted to say something?
Frank, of course, you're my brother from a different mother. I love you too. to pieces, Catherine, all of y'all. We work very well together, and Frank is a true trailblazer in his own right. I want to say this, maybe, and I hate to bring it down like this, but maybe we need to kind of dissect sarcoidosis, meaning that go through under different umbrellas. Lupus for the skin, cardiac, we go under something else that's treatable with cardiology. I think we have to start thinking outside the box now to pull those resources. Resources are all around us, but if we start pulling from different umbrellas, we never will truly get what was rightfully deserved in this segment and in this group,
Yeah,
in this community.
I agree. That's why I went to the rare disease community to help. Unfortunately, I got too sick that I couldn't keep on going.
Understood.
Yeah, and Trina, you know how it is because you were with me the whole time, a lot of times.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand. I'm so sorry what you meant by that. I got confused.
Who's that?
What happens is when you work with the rare disease community, you're working with all these other different rare diseases that have some of the same symptoms that we do, that some of their medicines may work for us, what they call orphan drugs, repurposed drugs, whatever you want to call it. That's all about drugs other than prednisone and Actar gel are repurposed orphan drugs. Methotrexate is a cancer drug. Remicade is a rheumatology drug. I mean, we could go down the line. Every one of them is used for something else. But they wouldn't have found that out if we weren't working with other people. And that's something that there are other drugs out there that are going to help us. That'll be so much cheaper than trying to find the new drug.
Right. And I agree with Trina completely. Trina, I just made a connection with the Better Breathers Club, aka American Lung Association, and I became a moderator for them too, because I'm wiggling my way in.
Yeah, I mean, there's other things, but one of the things I really want to tell you guys is that everybody can help. Like one of the main things I want stronger than sarcoidosis is to show you guys how you can help with one little phone call, with one little email. You don't even have to leave your house, and you could do a lot. I've done for the last 3 years. I haven't gone to DC. 2 years. I haven't been to DC, other than our training, and I still talk to all my representatives. I mean, I could call. I mean, I was so crazy in the beginning that I actually knocked on every senator's door. 2 days I spent with my wife, God bless her. We stopped and knocked at every senator's door. But you know what? Now I can actually call them now, and I could talk to their health aides. And I can give you guys numbers to call. And that's what I'm hoping Stronger Than Sarcoidosis is going to be that middle person to help you not only with patient-to-patient care, but to help you with mental care, and also help you, like I said, have you help us, and by reaching out to your congressman, your whoever, and and one thing I do have to say about when you're talking to government, don't forget your county. A lot of your laws, the health laws, get passed by your county more than your state and your federal government. So your county is a very important part of this. And so the what is it called? The proclamation that FSR uses is the proclamation from Suffolk County, my county, that they did. That's the one that you see on FSR as the sample. That's from them. It's just there's a lot of things that we can do to help this process along. Go ahead, Trina.
You mentioned something just recently. You said your counties are the ones that develops a lot of the policies relating to health, right? Now, do you think ADA is involved in that? Or should ADA be
Oh,
involved
they
with
should.
it?
They should. Yeah, they should. I don't know if they
Just-
really are, but I
Okay.
would say they should be. Yeah.
Okay. So I need to talk to the ADA coordinator because
Yeah. If you could
this
find out,
time.
let me know if they are involved. I know our town. Our town actually has a disabilities a branch, right, Kathleen, that they have now that's working with the town on working on all disabilities, making everything better, like just as much as walkways and just everything, just getting the word out there about disabilities. But yeah, I mean, I could preach all day about this, but the one thing I really want to make sure you guys understand is that, like I even said it. I know Wendy, you and Kathleen, you guys watched it, and at at the end, one person came up with an idea, okay, of that forum. One person came up with that idea, and then I what happened is I called people, and everybody jumped in and wanted to help. But if I didn't call the next person, it never would have got there.
Yeah,
So
but they said they'll be
if
there
you,
for you. All those
but
people, it's amazing.
the thing is though, Wendy, if you have an idea, don't be afraid to contact me, Kathleen, Trina. Let us know, and because if we do have the contacts, we will try to get things done. All it took is for me to call. I called a couple of people, and things started to roll. Um, a lot of people don't understand. A lot of government officials do want to help us. There are, especially the town and the counties, and they like. I mean, Valerie, who ran that meeting, she's a town not supervisor. She's a town councilwoman, and now she's been nominated for. She just put it out. She's been nominated for New York State Supreme Court Justice. Just
Wow.
so, and I knew her before she was even a councilwoman.
Well, I
So,
was impressed about how you had one of the legislators and doctors who had a
yeah.
family member that had sarcoid, and they said they are so willing to move things to help us.
Oh yeah,
That is so
Doc Spencer.
significant.
He's amazing. I love Doc Spencer. He's another guy. He has in our county. There's three, no, now four county members that either know somebody or have sarcoidosis themselves in my county legislature. I mean, what's the odds of that? But like I said, if you guys have ideas, don't be afraid to let me know. I'm open to everything. I
This is election year, so let's go ahead and start flooding these emails and
Yep.
phones.
I really think it. You know, I'm not. If I don't know what to do, I'm not afraid to ask for help, and I'm also not afraid to tell you I don't know. I will find out for you. I'm not. I never say. I'm never going to BS you. Um, if I don't know, I don't know, and I know my limitations. But I can. I know people who can tell me or where I can get an answer. That's the one thing I can say. I know how to get an answer. So does Trina. So does Kathleen. Allison, you've been working on this a lot too. I know, and Sandy, you've been too. um, you've been working a lot. In Texas. But I just, I really think that a lot of people. I mean, I think I've been a little bit more emotional because unfortunately, too many people from sarcoidosis have been passing away a lot lately. If you look on Facebook, it's very emotional. Three within like what, a week, 2 weeks. I mean, that we know of, 1 week within a week, and that's people we know. And 2 years ago, it really hit me when all those people would die. We had 40 people die in 2 years that we knew, and that's sad. And it's got to be there's got to be something to say. All right, enough's enough. Um, you know, I know I could only do so much as one person, but us as a community, because we do have a lot of people in our community, we really do, and it's growing, unfortunately, but it's also a lot of people. And if you make one phone call, if everybody made one phone call, even a day or a week, you know how many phone calls that would be?
Frank,
How
you know
many
their
government officials would
foundation,
want that?
you know, the Sarcoidosis Foundation,
Yeah.
they have that registration, how we all register, you know,
Mhm.
like sarcoidosis real, you know, all the people that are on the Facebook there, they go on that and they join it.
Mhm.
But I don't feel like we get any personal contact back because I
But
didn't know anything at first. And, you know,
that's
I know
why we
now,
opened this. That's why we opened up Stronger Than Sarcoidosis. It's to get
right,
that personal contact. And if we have contacts at FSR that we can work with them, and they will work with us. We have contacts at Bernie Mac's Foundation, and they will work with us. As you can see, there was 5 of them at our forum, and they really wanted to send 10 people. They wanted to send 10 people to the forum, and I was like, I don't have room for you. I don't have room for 10 of you.
so
I
let's
really
take
didn't
the
have room for
other 5.
5.
Let's take the other 5 for another time because
Oh
this,
yeah, we will. Um,
I was like,
Rhonda, Marianne, and I are working on a bunch of different things that we're going to work on. Rhonda is actually Bernie Mac's wife, and Marianne is Bernie Mac's sister-in-law. So they run Bernie Mac Foundation, and they are so. That night after that forum, I got an email from all 5 of those people saying, when are we going to have the next one? So we have them hooked, and that's what we need to do is get people hooked in, because I just feel like too
exactly.
many people are too many people are going the wrong way, and we and even if we can get some of these clinical trials, approved, get past the
But you
first.
said so many are going the wrong way, but the meeting that you had was going so much the right way. It's
Yeah, it
going
is.
the right
It's
way.
a
They
start.
were wonderful. It was so positive, and it
Yeah.
was right to the point, and it was so honest, and you had the people that you needed, and now they can spread it to all the other legislators and Congress
Mhm.
people that are higher than them, and it can go further. It
Yep.
was
That's a
amazing.
plan. That's our plan, and there's so many areas. Like I said, that's what the forums are for. I'm gonna also send out on our if you're on the Facebook page for this, the Sarcoidosis National Online Support Group page. I'm gonna start putting surveys up of what you guys would like to see in a forum. I would like to hear from you guys, because if we're going to be patient oriented, we have to listen to the patients. I don't want to be making up all these forums myself. I really want to hear from you guys, what you think. My philosophy from day one, and anybody who knows me has known my philosophy, is for all the patients. I'm not here, yeah, I'm here because I have it, but I'm here because of all of you guys and all the others that can't fight for themselves. That's what I'm here for. And all my decisions will always be patients first. It won't be because it'll get me famous, or I didn't even want to speak at that forum. Valerie actually pushed me into. She told me that day that she was going to introduce me, because I thought I was going to be in the background. I made a rare. I did a for a rare disease. Remember that, Kathleen, the rare disease? We had a rare disease forum, live forum over here on Long Island, and there was over 100 and something people there. I didn't speak once, even though I organized the whole thing. I'm not here for the fame. I'm not here for the glory. I'm here to get something done. I really want something done because we
But,
need
but,
to.
but it was really important what you said. You got
Yeah.
straight, you gave them a straight and honest answer, and they wanted
Well,
to
you
hear
guys,
it.
I want you to know that I'm here to support you. I think
Was that somebody?
Who is that, Sandy? We can't hear you.
yeah, but there's 2 of us talking the same. Like, yeah, can you
Okay,
hear me
go ahead,
now?
Sandy. Yeah, go ahead, Sandy.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
I just wanted to say that I would like to help, but I have some limitations because I work for the Food and Drug Administration, so I can't do I have limitations in what I can do. Like I can't lobby
Okay.
Congress for anything that's an issue that
Yeah.
would be related to FDA.
Okay.
So I'm limited to work on clinical trials because that's FDA business. But if there's anything else I can help with, anything to do with patients and putting on programs, all that, I'm good. Let me know how I
Yeah,
can help.
that's great. I mean, yeah, because to me, it's not just clinical trials. Like you said, it's health. It's um, there's other things that we still have to scratch the surface. We haven't even scratched the surface on as a group. I think I'm really trying to figure out what are we really missing. There's something that we're really missing, because why are all these other, like, I mean, I'm watching this rare disease community still, and I'm finding out they're getting these drugs approved. What are they doing that we're not? So I'm actually reaching out to them to actually ask their help. Why? What are they doing that we're not doing as as a community?
Maybe,
Some of them have a
maybe,
lot less people than we do.
maybe Frank, is cadence. Maybe we don't have, our cadence isn't as strong as it could be. And people are probably seeing that from different angles, even though we live in different states.
Mm-hmm.
If we're all dancing to the same beat at the same time, I think
Mm-hmm.
our momentum will get stronger and will build, and then people will feed off of that. I don't know. That's just one of the
Yeah,
things that came across my mind.
Yeah,
I
I think
agree.
that's right. I
Go ahead,
think it's
Kathleen.
true.
Go
Trina,
ahead, Kathleen.
I also think Trina kind of hit the
I think
nail.
I think
Oh, go ahead, Sandy. Oh,
okay. I just think that I can't do this myself, but I think that we should lobby Congress to get some sort of a law enacted that forces insurance companies to pay for any, like, for example, sarcoidosis is an inflammatory disease, but FDA only has 2 drugs that are approved for it. So all these insurance companies use that as an excuse not to pay for our meds. So it's not FDA approved for sarcoidosis. But we should have some sort of law. I don't know how to write it, but that says that any medication that's used for any inflammatory disease is suitable for sarcoidosis patients to try and see if it works for them, and insurance companies have to pay for it. Something like that.
Yeah.
You know,
RDLA is actually working on something like that. They haven't, because I'm also in there. Even though I haven't been there physically, I'm in their working group, as they call it. When what we discuss in the working group is how to change the laws, like you're saying, Sandy. And somebody actually did bring this up, and I second it. So
there's a whole group of, it wouldn't benefit just sarcoidosis if we do it for all diseases that cause inflammation.
Yep.
List them all. Any disease that causes inflammation, any drug approved for anyone, used by anybody.
Yeah, I agree with you, Sandy.
Yeah,
I'm done.
I totally agree.
I
with
went to
that.
college trying to get it's crazy.
That would really
All
help us a lot.
medications, it's crazy.
Yeah. We can. What I can do is I'm gonna bring it up again, because they said in January we're gonna do our new sets of what we're going after for the year, and if I can get RDLA behind it, because they're one of the big rare disease organizations, they have they lobby. That's their job. That's what they do. They lobby.
Yeah.
So if we can get them to get it on their plate for us to work on it as a working group, then they'll lobby for us, or not just for sarcoidosis, but for everybody who has this. And I think we can get that working.
Can I ask, now that Sandy said that, Sandy? The rheumatologist that I go to, she's like, do you have any aches or pains anywhere? Because it's like she wants to give me another medicine, but she can't do it. Just like you're saying. Have you come across that?
So yes, that's exactly what the problem is. And so they need to find some other thing that's wrong with us so they can justify giving us these meds and get insurance to pay for them. So, I mean, I work at FDA, and like the FDA had a rare disease forum and earlier in the year, and I told FSR about it, and they didn't even send anybody. But so I wrote they were accepting feedback from the public. And so I wrote, as an individual, I wrote my opinion on that. But, we need someone to actually push it and get a proposal. Then we can get everybody who is any of those disease lists to start writing letter to Congress. I mean, we may only be 200,000 people, but if we get the list of every inflammatory disease, we're talking millions of people.
Yeah, what RDLA does, which is really cool.
That got past the RDA, with the rare disease community, with all of these different platforms, not just us collectively, but as far as the organizations itself, I'm surprised that got past anyone.
Yeah, I know. RDLA, what they do, which is really cool, is whether or not it doesn't matter if you're inflammatory, if you have part of their part of their organization, they ask every organization to sign on to this letter, and when they send the letter into, and then they already before they even send in the letter, they make sure they have two congressmen, a Republican and a Democrat, and then they make sure they have a senator, to a Republican and a Democrat, to both what I forgot what they call the bill. I can't, Kathleen, do you remember what they do? They to sign on to the bill and to represent the bill, even before they even send a letter in. So I will take that back because it has been brought up. I will try to get them to do it this year, because I'm not the only one. There's like fibromyalgia is also pushing the same thing because they're having a lot of trouble with drugs. There's a
Hey,
lot of
Yeah, every
can we get a
every kind of our
legislator that was in your group to come in on our group and hear these issues so he can push us
I could
forward?
try. It's hard because their main office is in California. So 7 o'clock to 4 o'clock, so they're still working. It's RDLA's main office is in. They do have a smaller office in Washington D.C., but they're the lobbyist, I should say. They're not the ones who actually make up what they're going to lobby for. They just
Well, what
do
about the
whatever
lady
they.
that's from your area, right there in Long Island, that's your friend there? And
Oh,
she can
Valerie.
sit in our group. Yeah, Valerie, she can sit in our group and she can listen to us and then she can get the knowledge for us and pass it on.
Yeah. I I can ask a couple of them to sit in on it. Valerie has come to
guys,
our in-person groups a couple of times.
I mean, if we can pull this off as a group, we will have done more for sarcoidosis patients than anybody has done in the last 20 years.
Yeah.
I mean, it would be such an improvement for all of us.
Yeah, it definitely. It's like I said, we need to get all our minds together and push something, because
So let's create like something like
No,
Instacart. Just put
it-
all our that Instacart, and then we just pull it out and start categorizing things.
yep.
Yeah.
Because Trina, like you said before, there was
Yeah,
the problem is there's too many different
Yeah.
messages going out. There's way too many messages going out to the government. Like if you like that was the one of the biggest things why I talked to at the time Ginger about making the ambassador program, is because when I first went to DC, they would tell each representative or senator I was told said they heard a different reason of what sarcoidosis was, like a
We got
different
it on the
definition.
same page. We got to be in cadence. We got to get on
Yeah.
the same page,
So-
answer to the same beat, moving the
So
same
if
way.
we do decide to do something like this,
Yeah.
if we do decide to do this, I'm sorry, really quick. If we do decide to do this, I don't mind, stronger than sarcoidosis being the backbone for this, but I do want we all to be on the same page. I don't want it to be, if we're going to do this, we got to do it the right way. That's my motto. Kathleen knows that. I'm not going to do anything unless it's done right. Hence, it took me longer to do this forum than I was thinking about this when it first started in March. And then it took all the way to now. But I wanted to make sure we got the right people to speak, and same thing. All right. So if we're going to do this, something like this, I'm more than welcome to help. I don't want to do it all. I don't have
that part.
yeah.
Yes, that
Trina knows I will do a lot of it. I will step in, because if people aren't doing it, I step in and do it. I can't keep on doing that anymore. It's just,
That's right.
it's not it's not healthy. I want to be here to help people.
Go ahead, Kathleen.
I
No,
can.
Trina, finish.
I would
Go
just
ahead.
say I had the idea. I'm limited in my ability to do it because of my job. It's like a conflict of interest for me to go and ask to have this changed, because it's like it's not right. But I can work as an individual on any cause I want to believe in. I can write letters, but I can't really lead this and go to Congress and say,
Right.
because it looks like I'm an FDA employee, it's against the local
Conflict
rules.
of interest.
So
Yeah, conflict of. Mhm.
yeah, so you have, I mean, it's like, I will do anything I can to help that I'm allowed to do.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, I don't ask much from
Really
people because
important.
I know we all have sarcoidosis. We all are having good days and bad days, and so we do what we can. But if everybody wants to do something like this, I'm all for it, and I'm all for. I'm
Yeah,
sure
we would,
Kathleen. I'm sure Kerry and Cheryl will be behind something like this also.
Yeah,
So,
I think
remember when the people,
Balance,
I said, remember when after the FDA for the right to try a drug, an experimental drug before it was approved, and it was called right to try. And everybody knows, you say right to try, everybody knows what that means. We should come up with some sort of a slogan that summarizes what we want and give it a name so people remember us.
Get
Because if
it
you say right to
right.
try it, everybody knows what you're talking
Get it
about. We have a
right.
right to try.
mhm.
So we
Yeah,
need to think of something like,
I like that. I like it.
Get it right.
yeah,
Kathleen,
now
you
something
wanted to
other
say
than
something?
what the answer is.
I have
I'm
one
sorry.
problem though, and I need to help with this because this is a problem thing. I have a lot of people telling me, well, I mean, this is even family members, you're going to get over this, you're going to be cured. They read that it's two
Oh,
thirds
yeah.
people lose it, it's gone. And then
Mhm.
there's the rest that keep it forever. Um,
Well,
and then,
first of all,
well, some of us have systemic and they don't understand. It's like we need,
the, Wendy, the one thing you start from number one is not everybody's going to understand this disease, and you can't make them understand it. If they don't want to, they're not going to. So don't waste your time and your energy on trying to make them understand it. That's first thing. Second of all, I think the numbers are getting skewed because a lot more people now are actually becoming chronic than they are. I mean, the numbers are a lot higher, especially since the 9/11 first responders, and they're just catching it now. What is it? 19 years later, they're just finding people that have it now.
but
So
Frank,
I think the numbers are the problem. I think the problem is the numbers, Wendy. Go ahead, Kathleen.
I'm gonna do Wendy first. So Wendy, as far as that's concerned, even if you go into remission, which I believe you said your doctor said you were at this time, unfortunately, it's forever in your body. I don't wish that upon anybody. I hope that you stay in remission and it just stays the heck away from your body. But unfortunately, and it's a proven fact that it's still in our bodies and can be brought out. You're in a car accident or you have a high stress, anything could bring it about, a bad cold, anything like that. So, just remember that, to be 100% honest with you. So, and going to the Sandy, I'm working my way backwards to Trina. So Sandy, I
Yeah.
agree with you and I understand that you cannot help, put your name on it. But here's a question for you because my mind is already going tick, 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 just like Trina's is right now. Will you help us write something on the side that your name's not part of?
Yeah.
Excellent.
I can do
Okay.
that, and I can use my colleagues at work on our own lunch to get their feedback on how to write it. I can
We
get
will,
away with little stuff like that, but I can't go be the face
Yeah,
of this. There's no way.
no,
that's no
But I want to
problem.
go back to talking about this sarcoidosis going into remission stuff. I think, Frank, we need to put that on our agenda for our next meeting. When we're talking to the doctors, what all my doctors don't understand, and I know your doctors don't understand, is they think we came down with sarcoidosis the day they diagnosed it. So they told me, oh, considering you're a white woman and your lung function's pretty good, it'll probably go into remission in a couple of years and never come back. But the reality was I've been 6 years before I got diagnosed.
I
So
was told
if you're exactly diagnosed, you're a chronic person. If you're diagnosed, that you've already been sick for so long, you are definitely one of the chronic people. The ones who are not going to come back are the ones who don't even know they have it. And one day they get a lung X-ray, and it's like, oh, what is that? They have no symptoms. That's the people who are the lucky 70%.
Yeah.
Those of us who actually get diagnosed, it's in years to get there. So I wish somebody would stop that. How they act like I only had it since 2016 because that's when they finally figured it out. But I was sick for years before.
But you know, like Allison, really quickly, I know Allison, Dr. Culver. If you talk to him about it, he says what you're saying. Dr. Culver says that if you're diagnosed with it, he's because he knows the most regular sarcoidosis doctors that are just sarcoidosis doctors know that the average is 7 years to get diagnosed.
Right.
So and
we
you
all know
already
we
had
have
it for 7 years. At least 7 years
Yeah,
you've
so
had it.
yeah,
Wow,
I
it
just,
takes
I
7
just
years.
told me that they still said that I have it in my lymph nodes and pulmonary. It's just my
I didn't
neurosarcoid.
realize it took that long. That's the average?
Yes, the average is
Yeah.
7 years.
And unfortunately, for
gosh.
people like me, it was already chronic.
First.
So, and like, and a lot of people get misdiagnosed and, like, oh, it's asthma, oh, it's lymphoma, or in my case, oh, it's lung cancer. Here, have some.
Exactly. Yes, I remember that coming to the hospital. Do you realize you have lung cancer?
Yeah.
And I'm like, what? And they're like, yeah, you have lung cancer.
Yeah. But the reason that it takes so long is, and I think they even said it on the forum, is our disease is a disease of exclusion. They exclude everything else out before they actually decide it's sarcoidosis. But I think some of that is changing. Some of it, the lung is actually getting. I think more people are getting diagnosed quicker with lung sarcoidosis now. But I wish they would do the whole body.
Yeah, you're right.
The lung people. Okay, Kathleen, you want to say?
No, finish your thought.
I'm just saying. I think you're seeing a lot more people come out with lung sarcoidosis. Meanwhile, they have it in other parts of their body. They just don't know it yet, like you said, Sandy. Go ahead.
I don't know, Frank. Maybe they got like a fluorescent light that they could just like scan our body through. I mean, I don't know.
You're going to design that, Trina, and you're going to be billionaire. Okay. So, Frank, to answer your question from before, yes, I do believe that stronger than sarcoidosis can take this on. We of course have to speak to the other two board members. Yeah. However, it's not. And I'm bringing this to you guys because you're all here, and I know Trina will put this out as well. Is that it can't just be the four of us working on it. We need all of our help. So we'll forum after forum, get other people involved. If you know somebody with sarcoidosis, this is going to take a village, guys. This really is. And Trina, to go back to your statement a million years ago about going to lung and skin and everything like that, Sandy, I think that is and I have spoken to Frank about this a few times because I got involved with the Bread of Breathers and I was trying to drag his behind in, and he didn't let me drag his behind in, yet he dragged mine.
At the time.
Trina, go talk
sick
to
at the time.
Yeah. So, but anyway, I think that solidly is another area to continue to work on. And I think you are definitely in the right place. And because you are too, it started my brain rethinking on what other groups we can get involved with. So I will start looking some of that up. Maybe I'll send you a quick email and stuff like that, Trina. Because you got to go in through the back doors, if that makes sense. I mean, Sarcoidosis of Long Island is a name. Foundation for Sarcoidosis is a name. Bernie Mac is a foundation is a name. But who doesn't know the American Lung Association? We all have lung problems. So why aren't we using what is at our disposal? So you are correct. And I think, it doesn't, as you said, Sandy, we should be able to take these medications and drugs from other things. And I still want to work on legislation as well. But if we can even start going through back doors as we're working on that at the same time, I think that might be a good thing. So guys, you now have homework.
Yeah, but Kathleen, I know that's all great, all this, that we're here, and sometimes we won't be able to be here because of our disease
Really?
too. And another thing is that meeting that we went to, and you know how Valerie spoke and all these people spoke and said they would help. I really do think that it would be um, fantastic for us, for them
Agreed.
to be included, because we can't do the things they can do.
Granted, and that's why, Frank, myself, Cheryl, and Kerry are not able to do everything. But here, most of the people, okay, so let's put ourselves in a doctor's shoes. So a doctor is seeing patients, answering calls, sending medications, doing charts, etc. Do you think he has a person to do the grunt work? Hey, doc, I'm part of American Lung Association, and they said that this is possibly good for lungs as well. What do you think? All right. And getting involved with these groups, maybe not to that level, but okay, so you have neurosarc. Um, is there anything inflammatory neurologically that's not sarcoidosis? And that's pretty much a Google search. And then you find out groups from there and you can subdivide, and at least we have the information to go to Valerie, to go to whoever your senator is, legislature is, and say, hey, this is what we're finding out, okay? Because Wendy did neurosarc, Barbara did pulmonary, Allison, I don't know, you did skin. You understand where I'm going with this? So I
Yeah.
did cardiac, Frank did COVID and this. So okay, so here's our information. How can you help us from here? They need the grunt work, and we're the
Yeah.
grunts.
Hmm. That's one of the biggest things. If you go to any government official and you don't have an ask, everything you said doesn't matter. Everything you said, you could tell them your story. It could be as bad as it was mine, or it's anybody else's. It doesn't matter. If you don't have asked them to do something, you just wasted your time, because that's all they're looking at. What can we do to help you? So if you don't ask them to help you and you just tell them, well, I'm a sarcoidosis patient and this happened to me, blah, 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 and that's the end of the story, they're like, all right, so what are you here for? They're here, you know, they want to know how they can help you because you're their constituent. You vote for them. Go ahead, Trina.
I'm sorry, and it also helps not just to know who is your congressman, your rep, or your senator, but it helps to know who on their team is the health director. That's who you really want to develop a relation with as well.
The health aides are the one that's going to get the bills written. They're the ones that are going to talk to the senator. This is a bit, we had the best health aide, Morgan Brandt, over in Schumer's office. She was amazing. I still have her cell phone number. That's how much. But it also hit home for her because her mom has sarcoidosis. She found that out like a week before I was going there. So we built a friendship on that round. But she was there to help at every point. Now, especially with the new every time the the votes, like whether it's president or legislators, most of the health aides change. Unfortunately, they only stay for between 2 to 4 years. So you only have 2 to 4 years to build relationships with these people. Like, I'm not a big fan of my representative, but his health aide and I were great friends. And he was the one who organized the government when we had that briefing in DC, the second one. Not Trina had the first one, but the second one, he was the one who set it up in the Capitol building. It was the health aide for my representative, and so you build those things, relationships. It's a relationship. But like I know it's already 8:30, so but I know we all want to do things, and like I said, I'm going to start putting up a little bit more of between Stronger Than Sarcoidosis on Facebook and also on this online group. I'm going to ask your guys' opinion on what you think is the biggest needs, and so we can start working on it. But like what Sandy said, I think it's something that really needs to be started really soon. Or at least if we can get things written down and started by January, because you're gonna have everybody new is coming in. They're all gonna want something. They want to represent something. If we have this thing written up for them and ready to go, it's all we need is one Republican and one Democrat. That's all we need.
And
Now,
we treat this like we're baking a cake. We get all our ingredients out first to
mhm,
prep, and then we begin the layers
yep.
after a while. Okay.
And then what we'll do, like I said, once we get, if we can write this letter, I can give it to RDLA, and then they'll jump on board, and they'll make it even bigger, and then they'll get all the other organs. There's 7,000 rare diseases in the United States. They represent 7,000 rare diseases, and they got it. Like if you look at any of the letters they sent to Congress or whoever, it's signed. I mean, signed and signed and signed. They have three papers.
But Frank, again, I'm going to tell you, they're saying we don't have a rare disease anymore.
It's not true. It's not true.
Why is there rare disease people saying that to me?
Because they don't want another one there.
And it's so funny because I had a conversation with someone from the ADA office today, and it was like, "What is that? That's autoimmune." I was like, "Well, some people look at it that way," but I said, "But to tell you the truth, scientists and doctors are split. Some are saying it's autoimmune, but I know it as an inflammatory disease." And she was like, "What?" So I started giving her names like Dale Armstrong. Sometimes you got to do what is relatable to the person that you're talking to, and not just throw out names, but throw out a name that you know they like country music. Well, guess what? That's who I'm using today.
What is it? Is it an inflammatory disease?
It's inflammatory. Right now, it is listed as an inflammatory disease. Okay, so leave it at that. It has autoimmune tendencies, but it's an inflammatory disease. Okay.
Yeah, autoimmune disorder, inflammatory disease. But the inflammatory comes first before the autoimmune disorder.
Yeah.
That's what causes the autoimmune disorder. It's the inflammatory part.
Yes. And also, Wendy, just so you know, when the only people that matter about rare disease, who defines a rare disease, is NIH. NIH is the only organization that matters. And under their laws, we are considered it's funny, it says sarcoidosis, but it has an asterisk because they know there are over 200,000 people, but not 200,000 people that are chronic. That's why they consider us a rare disease. They're counting the chronic people, not the whole, because a lot of people are in remission. They don't count the remission, the 70%. They count the 30%. And I know that for a fact because I actually sat in the meeting with the NIH director when that meeting came about because we had that argument.
Maybe that list that they told me about, we need to contact them and tell them that we are, because they say we are not on the list.
What list are you talking about?
I'm not being angry, but I'm just like, this is the rare disease.
What list? What list?
The Rare Disease Foundation, the list that they have.
Mary's in there. She works there.
Yeah, well.
Let me tell you. I'll talk to Mary. Because Mary works for RDLA, so I'll talk to her and find out what's going on over there. But I don't want to take a lot of your guys' time. It's already 8:35. We have plenty of more meetings we can discuss. I do thank you all, and thank you for being involved. And we can take this one step at a time. That's the best thing we can do, right? Alrighty.
Well, thanks, Sandy, for volunteering your
Yes, thank you, Sandy, for your information. Thank you so much,
everybody.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.
Sandy, thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, Allison.